Hey, good afternoon, y'all. So this afternoon we are learning Numbers 22, and I hope you'll join me as we study the Lord's Word. And we just invite Him to be a part of this. Holy Spirit, you're invited to be a part of this, and I say this in Yeshua's name. Numbers 22 is about Balak summons Balaam. Then the Israelites traveled on and camped in the plains of Moab near the Jordan, across from Jericho. Now Balak son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was terrified of the people because they were numerous indeed. Moab dreaded the Israelites. So the Moabites said to the elders of Midian, "This horde will devour everything around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field." Since Balak, son of Zippor, was king of Moab at that time, he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, at Pethor, which is by the Euphrates, in the land of his people. "Behold, a people has come out of Egypt," said Balak. "They cover the face of the land and have settled next to me. So please come now and put a curse on this people, because they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I may be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that those you bless are blessed, and those you curse are cursed." The elders of Moab and Midian departed with the fees for divination in hand. They came to Balaam and relayed to him the words of Balak. "Spend the night here," Balaam replied, "and I will give you the answer that the Lord speaks to me." So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and asked, "Who are these men with you?" And Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. Behold, a people has come out of Egypt, and they cover the face of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. Perhaps I may be able to fight against them and drive them away." But God said to Balaam, "Do not go with them. You are not to curse this people, for they are blessed," for they were God's people. So Balaam got up the next morning and said to Balak's princes, "Go back to your homeland, because the Lord has refused to let me go with you." And the princes of Moab arose, returned to Balak, and said, "Balaam refused to come with us." Then Balak sent other princes, more numerous and more distinguished than the first messengers. They came to Balaam and said, "This is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will honor you richly and do whatever you say. So please come and put a curse on this people for me." But Balaam replied to the servant Balak, "If Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not do anything small or great to go beyond the command of the Lord my God. So now please stay here overnight, as the others did, that I may find out what else the Lord has to tell me." That night God came to Balaam and said, "Since these men have come to summon you, get up and go with them. But you must only do what I tell you." So in the morning Balaam got up, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. The angel and Balaam's donkey. Then God's anger was kindled because Balaam was going along, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. He tried to stop him. Balaam was riding his donkey, and his two servants were there with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, she turned off the path and went into a field. So Balaam beat her to return her to the path. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow passage between two vineyards, with walls on either side. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord and pressed herself against the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against it. So he beat her once again. And the angel of the Lord moved on ahead and stood in the narrow place where there was no room to turn to the right or the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam, and he became furious and beat her with his staff. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have beaten me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." But the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not the donkey you have ridden all your life until today? Have I ever treated you this way before?" "No," he replied. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, and Balaam bowed low and fell face down. The angel of the Lord asked him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to oppose you, because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If she had not turned away, then by now I would surely have killed you and let her live." "I have sinned," Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "for I did not realize that you were standing in the road to confront me. And now, if this is displeasing in your sight, I will go back home." But the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but you are to only to speak what I tell you." So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite city on the Arnon border, at the edge of his territory. And he said to Balaam, "Did I not send you an urgent summons? Why did you not come to me? Am I really not able to richly reward you?" "See, I have come to you," Balaam replied, "but can I say just anything? I must speak only the word that God puts in my mouth." So Balaam accompanied Balak, and they came to Karath Hazoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep and gave portions to Balaam and the princes who were with him. The next morning Balak took Balaam and brought him to Bamoth Baal. From there he could see the outskirts of the camp of the people. I wanted to look up and give the definition of what divination is. Back in the day, they did divination, and God says it is an abomination for anyone that does divination. We're living in a time right now where a lot of people are working in divination. What is divination? According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, divination is the art or practice that seeks to foresee or foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge, usually by the interpretation of omens or by the aid of supernatural powers. And there's a lot of people that get caught up. They get caught up with the devil because they're caught up in the power that this brings. These are your psychics. These are your fortune tellers. These are those that think it's okay. We know that back then, even Joseph had a divination cup. We know that looking at this, divination is an effort to obtain insight into a question or situation by way of an occultic standardized process or ritual. To engage in divination is to reveal mysterious knowledge by supernatural practices. It's correlated with the occult and involves fortune telling and soothsaying, as it used to be called. And it says in the Bible that it's against. The Bible provides God's judgment of divination in Deuteronomy 18:10. "There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as an offering, anyone who practices divination or tells fortunes or interprets omens, or a sorcerer." Furthermore, 1 Samuel 15:23 likens rebellion to sin, the sin of divination, saying, "For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and presumption is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king." We need to understand that we are living in a day of pure divine witchcraft, and it comes in all shapes and sizes, but God is not having it. And it's going to be scary moving ahead. I have a few more videos that I've put together on witchcraft And I will be revealing those next. I'll do a couple of them. I think I have 4 or 5 that I can put together, and how we can overcome it. We're going to need to overcome it in the days ahead. There's a lot of people that think that they're harmless, and witchcraft is even crept into our churches with divination and such, and we need to be able to combat it. I pray this word helps somebody today, and I pray that you realize that God is with us in all areas and all things that we go through in this life. And I say this in Yeshua's name. Shalom.